In this Bond Bridge and Bond Bridge Pro operation video, the Bond team is pleased to announce additional shade technologies supporting virtual remote control and the ability for the Bond Bridge to support both sliders and virtual remote controls. Virtual remote control was originally introduced on the Bond Bridge Pro. With the release of the latest application and firmware versions, Bond Bridge users can now use the virtual remote control, which Olibra calls VRC. In addition to providing this functionality to the Bond Bridge, additional VRCs have been added. To use VRC, select a shade that is using a VRC-supported shade technology. We are using Breakfast Shade for this example. Select the Options menu located at the top right and choose Virtual Remote Control. You can use the VRC like the Shade Remote or Sidekick. By using the up, down, and stop control keys, you will control the shade just like the remote and Bond Home application. If you want to pair an additional remote to the motor, use the pair key following the instructions for the motor on pairing additional remotes. The menu key is used with the Bond Sidekick and can be used just like the Sidekick for programming actions. The Sidekick link at the bottom will direct you to the Bond Home site, where you can see information for using the Sidekick with specific motor technologies like SOMFI. The shade slider allows control of the selected shade devices by discrete movement through the Bond Home application using the slider control and integrations like Alexa and Google with both slider and voice control. The slider is set up by default on some of the shade technologies supported by Bond. On some shade technologies like SOMFI, you can set up the slider and calibrate it during or after the pairing process. If you do not see the slider after setting up the shade on your Bond Bridge or Pro, you may need to turn the slider function on. How this is done can vary based on the motor technology used. After you select the shade in the Bond Home application, select the option menu at the top right and choose Settings. Select Advanced. If you see Edit Controller, the slider is available for the shade motor. Turn on Set Position to enable slider control. Press Open and the shade will move to the fully open position. Press Close and the shade will move to the fully closed position. Press My to move the shade to the My position you programmed for the shade. Move the slider up or down to the desired position. The indicator on the right will show the actual value. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. This is just one of the operational videos you can find on the Bond Home support site.